What if getting featured in a national magazine or an online publication wasn't about, gee, I just got lucky, but more about strategy and your name appearing in media, not because you got lucky, like I said, it's because you really strategically planned it. Well, that's what my guest today is about. His name is Russell Trahan, and he knows a thing or two about how to make this happen for you. He is an expert. He is the owner and president of PRPR Public Relations, and he's the author of Sell Yourself Without Saying a Word. I love that title. So he started his career in working with the Chamber of Commerce and different, I guess, the Downtown Business Association. And that was in Orlando, I do believe. And then he also had, after he had a tenure with Walt Disney Company, and he joined PRPR. Now, he then later purchased PRPR and became the sole owner and president of the company. So let me tell you a little bit about PRPR. I know a thing or two about them because I actually had hired them back in the early 2000s and worked with them, and their claims are accurate. So I'll get to their claims in just a minute. So if you are a speaker, if you are a nonfiction author, if you are a consultant or a coach, and maybe you want to book more speeches, maybe you want to increase your fees or sell more products or just increase your credibility, this is the episode you're going to want to hear. So make sure you, first of all, hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Anyway, subscribe to this channel so that you don't ever miss an episode, because we put one out every single Tuesday. So don't want to miss one. So let me tell you a little bit more about Russell. So he has been with PRPR for, I believe, 25 years now. He has a track record. I can't believe this one, but it's true. He has a track record of getting 100% of their clients placements. And it's true because they placed me on I got into all kinds of magazines, articles that I wrote. So they put you in front of your target audience. And so it's like, who's your target audience? They're going to get you in front of them. So if you're a speaker, consultant, author, whatever it is, he can help you out. So we're going to learn a lot about this company today and how they can help you get the name recognition and be the go-to person in your industry. Because after all, that's what we want. We want to be the go-to person, right? So welcome to the show, Russell. I'm so glad you're here.
Great. Thank you, Zelda. And if I may, just so that your audience knows, I'm always completely honest in everything I say, I want to back up a little bit. The agency itself is 25 years old. Oh. I've been with it for 20 years now. It's 20 years in 1 month. I started with the agency in October of 2005. So the agency was started in about 1999, 2000. It's a little ambiguous as to when it started. Our founder that you know real well, Pam Lontos, who was a speaker, consultant, and author in her own right, really started doing for others what had worked so well for herself. And so, she just kind of started doing it and then said, hey, let's make this an actual business. And so then kind of filed the incorporation papers. So, around 1999, 2000, then I joined the agency in 2005. And then, like you said, in March of 11, when she decided to retire, the company was so well branded, had such a great reputation. I would have been an idiot not to. So when she decided to retire, I said, hey, I'll buy it from you. So I bought it and continued on with her methods, kind of kept up, obviously, with the changing times and, the modern methods, but what works. So kept moving forward with it. And here we are today with a 25-year-old agency that still can say, we get 100% of our clients placed.
There you go. I love it. I love it. It's great. So it's been around a long time. This is not a brand new company, just starting out from square one. They are established. So speaking of established, so for professionals who are not household names, which is probably the majority of small businesses, we're not household names. What's maybe some of the first steps in becoming seen as an expert in their field?
Sure. Well, first of all, one of the major mistakes that a lot of professionals make starting out is they want to push out the message that they want to say. They're so excited about what they have to say and what they know. And they just want to say, hey, here's me. And quite frankly, that's wonderful. Your mother may love you, but the media just doesn't care. That's not what it's about. It's really about the whiffum. That's if you want to get an editor's attention, give the editor content, give them information, give them what their readership is going to care about, give them what their audience is going to care about. It's the WIFM for the editor, the what's in it for me. That's the acronym. What WIFM stands for is what's in it for me. What the editor is going to care about, if you're going to get the editor's attention, you have to play through the editor to their readership and what's going to be important to them. It's not about what you want to say, but what that reader wants to hear, what that reader wants to know. So you've got to kind of put it in those terms, put it in that method.
So Anderson, it's kind of like, what's the difference between self-promotion and strategic publicity?
Exactly.
So self-promotion is telling them what you want them to hear, but the strategic publicity is telling them what they want to hear. Would that say that's right?
Exactly. No, that's perfect. That's an excellent way to put it. We always say in the articles that we place, we always say, non-advertorial, non-self-promotional,
right.
We always say no I's, we's, or me's, you don't want to say, I do this, I got this, the editor's going to say, big deal, place an ad. That's not, they're not going to care. My reader isn't going to care. If you want to brag, place an ad. So give them content, give them information, give them benefits.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I would think most people would be thinking, don't need to hire a publicist. I'm brand new, and they think, I should hire somebody once I'm successful. But I have a feeling that's just not the right thinking.
It's actually the opposite of that. A lot of times, once you're successful, you don't need a publicist. The media comes to you. Once you're a household name, once you're out there and well known, the media is going to be calling you. It's when you're starting out, when you're on your way up, that's when you do need the publicist to get your name known. And you're going to be commenting on the famous people. You're going to be submitting your expertise on the famous people. It's the media calls Tiger Woods when they have a story. The media calls Hillary Clinton when they have a story. But the media calls a publicist looking for the experts to comment on the story they're writing about Hillary Clinton. The media calls a publicist looking for an expert to comment on the story about Tiger Woods. And that's where we give them our clients. So it's when you're on your way up that you need the publicist.
It's kind of like, when do you advertise? When you're starting out, and when times get tough, you don't quit. You keep marketing.
Well, no, that's exactly it. When times get tough, you keep marketing. I'm sure you remember the Wrigley gum story from World War II, when they stopped making gum, when the governments used all the gum for the war product, and all the brands of gum stopped advertising. Except for Wrigley gum. This is a famous story. They teach it in colleges, in advertising and marketing classes in colleges. And all the brands of gum stopped advertising except for Wrigley. And they came up with their famous Remember This Wrapper ad campaign. And in magazines and newspapers and billboards all across the country, all throughout World War II, they put pictures of empty gum wrappers with Wrigley's on them. Just an empty wrapper, no gum, but it was Remember This Wrapper with Wrigley's on it. And after World War II, Wrigley's was the number one brand. Everybody bought Wrigley's.
They didn't know anybody else.
Yeah, no Red Stripe, no, every other brand of gum went out of business because everybody bought Wrigley's because it was all they could think of. So, yeah, it's in the tough times that you need to keep advertising to come out of the tough times.
So tell me, what do editors and journalists look for when they're trying to decide whose story to feature? Because you pitch these different stories and all that. How do they decide?
Well, it's a lot of it, honestly, in the articles that we place in the Trade Industry and Association magazine. A lot of it has to do with relevance to their association and industries, what's going on in their industry and their association, that, that's what they choose. Now, a lot of the topics are timeless, different marketing and different management, motivation, HR topics, hiring, firing, motivating, training, those things are timeless, but it's really more the structure of the article that helps sell it to the editors.
What do you mean by the structure of it?
You bet. The editors love articles that are 5 steps, 6 myths, 7 ways.
Changed in years, hasn't it?
That has not changed. That's the type of articles you did, isn't it? Yeah. Because what?
Yeah,
Sorry?
I said, yeah, it's 5. Here are the 5 steps to follow. Here are the 7 steps to follow. Absolutely.
Yeah. And sometimes they like the, 6 things not to do, 7 myths of this.
Yeah.
Sometimes they like to flip it. Well, because these trade and association magazines are read by owners, executives, entrepreneurs, they're read by the C-suite level decision makers. These are busy people. And a lot of times these magazines and these newsletters, they're picked up, they're read, and they're put down, and they're picked up again, they're read, and they're put down. They like the steps that they can read a little bit, glean some information, and then put down, and then you can pick it up again, and you don't have to worry about where was I? Well, what were they talking about? They could just pick up a bullet point, get a little information, and then put it down, and then pick it up again, and then read it a little bit and put it down. So it's really for the convenience of the reader. So that's why those 7 steps. They also love acronyms and alliterations, be a champ closer, CLOSE, for sales types of magazines.
My book that y'all helped me promote called The Art of Bouncing Back, all about the 7 steps. And there are 7, actually, it's 7 actions, ACTIONS.
Oh.
Each letter stood for something that's in that book. It's like, yeah, wow, all these years later, it hadn't changed.
It hasn't changed. Well, the formula works,
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's what I tell people is, that's what our clients tell us gets them results. So that's why we still do it. Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest mistakes, the most common ones that people make when they're pitching to the media to get their articles published?
The mistake, like I've already touched on one, and that's the leading with themselves.
Right.
They lead with, I've got this. Here's who I am. Here's my expertise. They don't lead with the content. They don't lead with the solution. When we're pitching out an article, we often don't even mention the author until the 3rd paragraph. We'll go, when we're pitching an article, we lead with, here's the situation, here's the solution. Oh, by the way, here's who wrote it. We don't get till the author's information until the 3rd paragraph.
The hook is at the beginning.
The hook, oh, definitely. The hook is at the beginning. Here's the situation you may find yourself in. Here's what's going wrong. Here's how this article can solve it. Here's 3 things your reader is going to get from this article. Oh, by the way, here's the credentials of who wrote it. Because that's what the editor is going to care about is, what's my reader going to get from it? And then, okay, give me some idea about why I should care about who wrote it. So I would say the number one mistake they make is leading with themselves. Quite frankly, unless you're Barack Obama, nobody cares that you wrote it. They care, what's in it for them.
What's in it for them.
Another big mistake people make is they'll pitch it out and then make themselves unavailable, pitch it out and then get on an airplane for 5 hours, or, pitch it out. And
do you mean, Russell, if you pitch it out, I'm assuming you're talking about they send it via an email.
Exactly. Sorry.
Yes. Are you saying that most of these people respond so quick that you can't go get on an airplane or go?
Some of them, yes, these days. Now, not so much probably when you did it, but today, especially with e-zines and newsletters and websites. And I mean, these days I pitch an article, I send out an email on Tuesday offering an article, and it's in e-zines and newsletters and websites on Thursday. I mean, it is just that fast. I mean, most editors still work on a 60 to 90-day editorial calendar, and an article that I offer out in November, I don't expect it to be in print until January or February, but literally the electronic versions come out a day or two later. I mean, I'm sending out an article yesterday and I've already got promises for it to be in newsletters already. So yeah, making themselves unavailable after they offer it. Especially speakers and consultants, where they're, flying off to do a presentation, they say, hey, I've got this article available. Oh, I guess it's not available. I'm on a plane to Minnesota.
So you're saying first you send them the pitch idea. You don't send them the article. You just send them the idea. And then if they're interested, then you send them the article. So is there a different way to pitch, like print versus online? Are they a different type of pitch, or are they pretty much the same thing?
Pretty much the same thing, simply because these days, everything that's in print is online as well. Everything that's in print has a digital archive. You've got your in print and you've got your PDF online. You've got your in print and you've got your website posting of it as well. So it's all the same.
Everybody's repurposing everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, it's still a different audience usually. Some people read it exclusively online. Some people read it only in print. So you want to make sure to do both, because you're getting, twice the exposure. So
let me ask you, so if you submit an article, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the protocol, I guess, for sending an article to a publication? And you don't want to, maybe they'll respond, maybe they won't, but can you send it out to multiple publications? Do you have to change the title? Do you have to change something, or how does that
work? As long as you're upfront about it, when you send out the article, as long as you let them know when you offer it to them, when you say, hey, I've got this article I've written, here's what it's about, here's what your readers are going to get from it, I'm offering it to you on a non-exclusive basis. Let them know that right up front. Then they know, that's how they're getting it. Because quite frankly, the New England Bar Association doesn't care that the Midwest Insurance Association is getting the same article, doesn't care that the Southeast Construction Association is getting it, doesn't care that the California Realtors Association is getting it. That as long as they all know up front.
So put that in your pitch letter.
But yeah, put that in your pitch letter, or make sure it's in your script if you're on the phone. Make sure they all know it up front.
But
great. Yeah, you don't really need to change the article. I mean, you can take one article and send it out to all of them. Just, make sure they know it up front. And then, wait about a month, 6 weeks or so. Well, okay, so send out the pitch, wait for them to come back to say yes or no, I want it. Then send them the full text of the article. That way, who's got it or who doesn't, who's got it and when they're going to use it. Now, if they have said, oh, I like this article, I'll use it in my next issue or whatever. But if you haven't heard from them, if they've gone radio silent on you, then I'd say wait about 6 weeks or so and then follow up with them. So,
Okay. Sounds good. It's like,
yeah.
don't blow up their phones and their emails.
No.
I get that as a realtor. People blow up my phone all the time. I'm like, no, I do want to sleep.
Sure.
So you work with nonfiction authors.
Yes.
So are there specific strategies for them to get their ideas in front of the right audience?
Well, a lot of it is who's the target of their book, who's the intended reader of their.
Let's say it's HR laws and
sure.
rules.
Yeah. I would target the HR. Who's the HR manager of that company? What are the HR associations? They can target both the industry associations and the professional associations, HR magazines, because you want to be seen as the expert. So get the frequency and repetition, get the dual coverage, have them see you in both their industry magazines, their widget manufacturing association magazine, and their professional magazine, their HR magazine. Get the double exposure. Some people say, well, why do I care if it's in the insurance magazine? I only want HR. Well, the HR director of an insurance company is also reading the Insurance Association magazine. So get the double exposure. And when they see that, they'll be like, oh, this person really is the expert. They really are the go-to source.
So how important is it what role does being consistent? And I don't mean consistent in calling them all the time saying, hey, did you get my email? But in submitting articles to the same organizations so that you don't fade out.
Sure. Well, you want to build frequency and repetition. You want them to see your name over and over again. There's the old adage of, having them see your name, having them hear your name message at least 7 times before they act on it. Fortunately, with print, it doesn't take. That old adage comes from radio and television, where they have to hear your name 7 times. In print, it's a lot shorter than that because they can hold on to the magazine. They can rip out the page. We hear from a lot of meeting and event planners that they go to their association magazines, they go to their trade publications looking for speakers, looking for articles, looking for speakers, because they know that when you're in that association magazine, it's a stamp of endorsement. It's instant credibility that when you're there, your message is going to be applicable to their audience because the readership of that magazine is the audience at the convention. So, they rip out pages, they bookmark newsletters, they download the e-zines. So it's a lot quicker in print. It's a lot quicker with the articles because you can get in monthly. You can get into, we get a lot of our clients that if the editor gets a good response to your article, they'll start asking us to send them columns. We actually, for some of our clients, have developed what we call a send directly list, where we don't have to pitch the article anymore. That editor knows that they like the columns. So we just say, oh, we've got a new column from this client. We have these magazines that don't want us to pitch them anymore. They just want them directly. So we just send them the full column every time we get one from them. So.
Now, is it important, Russell, to at the end of your article to do, and I just remembered this from the old days, okay? We would write the little copyright, all rights reserved, or you have permission, blah, 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 just give me credit. Are those kinds of things still relevant today?
Not so much anymore, no. You don't need to tag that at the end of your articles. But because the articles themselves, like I say, no I's, we's, or me's in the articles, no self-promotion in the articles. What you do want to tag the end of the articles with, and I'm sure you remember this, is the bio paragraph, is the 50 to 70 word, this is who I am, this is,
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, yeah. There used to be.
I didn't do that.
Oh, I did.
I don't remember doing that. I have to go dig up my old magazines, but because I saved them, but I don't remember that.
there's always like a 50 to 70 word bio paragraph at the end. Zelda Greenberg is a speaker, author, and consultant. She has spoken in front of 70 groups on 5 different continents. Her main focus is real estate. If you're interested in having her come to speak to your next event, please click here and put your URL there. So that's where the promotion comes in, is in that bio paragraph.
Okay, that's important to know.
Yeah, that's where we really work with our clients to focus in on what they want that reader to know about them. To focus in on, are we promoting their book? Are we promoting their speaking? Are we promoting their consulting? And the call to action at the end. For more information, click here. To talk about your next event, go to buy my book, please visit. And everything ends with their URL or a landing page, or, wherever. We were helping one client one time build an audience for their radio show. So it was, to listen in, please visit. And it's really great because that URL, with everything online these days, they hot link back to that, and it's phenomenal for organic SEO.
That's wonderful. Got my little mind going, ooh, I got some ideas now. So that's awesome.
Yeah. With each article getting multiple placements all across the country, that is phenomenal SEO out there.
That is.
Yeah.
So let's switch for just a second.
Sure.
AI. We have to talk about AI.
Yes.
We have to. So there's so much content being created with AI. So how do professionals make their voice stand out as authentic and human, and it's not created by AI? I know everybody's tweaking it, at least. Hopefully they're not just using AI, they're tweaking whatever. But how do you stand out and let people know, this is my voice, this is me, this is not ChatGPT?
Sure, you bet. Well, a couple of years ago when AI first came out,
yes,
I had an author who sent me an article, and he said, hey, I had AI write this for me. Send this out. See what you think of it. See what it gets. And I pitched it out. I sent it. I didn't tell my editors that it was an AI article. This was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I didn't say a thing. I just sent it out. And it was well requested. It was well requested because the author, who I shall not name, but he's fairly well known in certain circles. And I sent it out, and it was well requested, but not well placed at all. And I finally went back to some editors and said, why not? Why didn't you like this? And they said, Russell, it sounds like it was written by a 3-year-old. It just, this is not what we can put in front of our executives. This is not what we can put in front of our C-suite level readers. This is junior high stuff. This is not his usual, who wrote this? And I started to admit to them then privately that this was AI. And I had to go back to the author and say, you can't send me any more AI articles. I'm not going to send them out. This is damaging your reputation and mine. I'm not sending out any more AI articles. And about the same time, I had another author who told me she had ChatGPT write an article, and she wouldn't even send it to me. She thought it was so bad. She wouldn't send it to me. Now, that same author, Susan is her first name, she has actually, in the meantime, spent a great deal of time feeding AI her articles, her old articles. And she's fed it dozens of her articles, and she has had it write articles, and she has edited them and sent it back to AI. It sent it back to ChatGPT, and she has spent literally like 2 years teaching ChatGPT her voice.
Yes.
And her style.
Yes.
And she has spent a great deal of time on this. And I got to tell you, it has paid off, because we will, at 10 o'clock in the morning, we'll talk about an article topic, and I'll say, hey, how about this? And she'll say, I'll work on that. And 4 hours later, she'll send me an article that won't need any editing. It'll be absolutely perfect. I will pitch it out. It'll get 12 to 14 placements, just like an average article at the agency will do. editors have no idea it's written by Chat GPT. It's just like all of her.
Because it was done in her voice that she knows how to. I always say this about, I wrote a course for beginners on AI. It's for beginners because there are so many people that I won't even go down that road, but it's like, you really have to understand how to prompt the AI. If you don't do the right prompts, it's going to give you the third grade answer.
Yeah. She took the time. She put in the work.
It takes time. Yes.
You've got to have the background in, and put the time in behind it. Otherwise, like you say, it's going to be like a third grader wrote it.
Yep.
I didn't mean to say 3-year-old. I meant to say third grader.
Well, yeah, I thought you did, but whatever. Yeah. But we got the idea.
Yeah. So she took the time, and now it's paid off. Now she can, whip out an article.
Use it, but you have to know how to use it correctly.
Yeah.
So by taking your own stuff and really, I get what you're saying. I get it. That makes total sense. So, is there a trend that you see in PR right now? Do you see some trends coming up?
By people that, trends in PR in general? Mm-hmm. Or, okay, I didn't know if we were still on AI. I thought you were saying AI trends.
Well, trends, it could be AI because AI is trending right now. Just in general, do you see anything in the horizon?
How many of your listeners are fellow PR people? Because I
don't know. They're from all over, but I don't know.
Because I was going to say, I see, the increased laziness in PR. I think.
Is that because of AI?
I think so. I think social media added to, and I don't mean laziness, but I just mean there
you do get lazy.
Yeah, but
Get complacent.
Social media and the internet added to it. Just because I saw a lot of things there. Just reporters used to have writers, reporters, not necessarily PR, but writers and reporters. They used to have to look for sources. They used to have to work, and we were there to help with all that. But a lot of that's gone away now. I've had writers and reporters, now they, rather than have to pitch things to them, they go and Google them and find them. And I literally had a reporter one time. I had a client. The reporter sent us a pitch, they were looking for a source for something, and they sent it out to a bunch of agencies. And I sent back my pitch, and they came back and they said, well, she sounds good, but I only needed 3 sources and you were number 4, so never mind. And I literally answered back, well, okay, how about the 3 best sources, not the 3 fastest sources? How about taking the time to actually read them and see which ones are the best? But, so I really see that, I know I sound like get off my lawn, but, I just see in the 25 years I've been doing this, I see that internet and social media and now AI, they say they're tools to make their jobs easier, but I also just see that it's making them lazier. Not necessarily not making them better.
Okay.
Lowering the bar and making them more mundane. And now I'm going to be out of business because nobody's going to want to work with me after.
No, you're great. I wouldn't have had you on the show otherwise. So that brings me to my next question, actually. So how do you measure the impact of a PR campaign beyond things like this had so many likes, this one had so many shares? How can you measure?
Well, that's up to the individual client and what they're hoping to get out of it, to be honest with you. I mean, that's what I always ask each client when I'm having each potential client, when they, that's how I always start a meeting with a potential client, is by asking them, what's your ideal outcome of a PR campaign? And I'll tell you if I'm even the right agency to help you achieve that. And then I can end the call in 10 minutes, or we can keep talking, because if what you want is beyond my means, then we don't even need to continue talking. But, and then, if it is, okay, let's discuss how we can even do it. But, it's up to the individual client to determine that success, because if you're hiring me, I can get you placements in association, trade, and industry magazines. that's what you hire me for. But it's up to you to determine what you do with those, how you use those. And that's any publicity campaign. I don't work in broadcast, but if you hire somebody to get you on television or get you on radio, and they do, and it depends on then, okay, what do you as the client do with that publicity? How do you manage it? So publicity in itself is a means to an end. So it's not necessarily the success of the campaign, but what then do you do with the publicity?
It has to be part of that strategic plan. I'm going to do this and get in these articles so that I can become I get hired as a speaker, or talking about my book so that people will buy my book, or they'll have me speak and I'll sell some books there. So those kinds of things. So you have to have, it's strategic. Like we said at the very beginning, it's not about luck. It's about being very strategic in what you're doing.
Exactly. One of the best analogies I've ever heard is it's like going out and buying a brand new car. It doesn't do any good if you just park it in the garage.
No.
You hire a publicist, they go out and get you all this publicity. It doesn't do any good if you don't do something with it.
Do something with it. That's true. So is there one piece of advice that you could give a professional who wants to become known as the go-to person in their industry? If there was just one thing you could tell them to do, what would it be?
Define your target market. Nothing kills it faster to say, oh, everybody can benefit from my content. If everybody can, then nobody will. So define your target market and know where they are.
Yeah.
Go, what magazines do they read? What social media platforms are they on? And then position your content in front of them where they already are. And that will draw them back to you.
That's brilliant. Yes. So tell our listeners, Russell, if they want to contact you, they want to hire you, and y'all should, because he knows how to get you in front of your target audience. I know this because I've hired them and it works. So tell us how they can reach you.
Sure. On my website, prpr.net, NET, there's a contact us page. If you go there, fill out the form, it comes directly to me. We'll set up a complimentary consultation, and I'll find out if I'm the right agency for you or not.
Can't be any easier than that, can it? It's like
try to keep it simple. Yes.
Keep it simple. That's right. Keep it simple.
PRPR.net.
PRPR.net, not .com. It's .net. So don't. We're going to put that. And we'll put that in our show notes so people will see that. So Russell, I have one final question. It is my signature question that I ask all my guests. So if you could share a story about an opportunity that presented itself to you because of a connection that you had.
Sure. Actually, I've got a great one.
Okay.
Because he was probably a client back when you were a client.
Okay.
Cal Potter was or is still a safety expert.
Oh.
And he was doing articles with us back when I joined the agency in 2005. When I was just an agent and making pitches all day, and that's all I was doing. And then that was back in 2005. Flash forward to 2016, and his campaign ran its course. It was very successful, and he moved on to other things. Hadn't spoken to him in 10 years or so. Then flash forward to 2016 in Washington, D.C. at the Institute of Management Consultants convention. I reconnect with Cal Potter. He was there. And we were talking about, he had just come out with a new book. He gave me the idea to write my book. So that's where my book came from. But then it turns out his daughter, Nona Prather, who worked for him for many years, many professional speakers get their whole family in. So his daughter, Nona Prather, she is now a speaker agent. And she represents other speakers getting them booked. So I ended up connecting with her. And now that I own PRPR and she is out on her own representing speakers, I've connected with her and we share many clients back and forth. So it's kind of moved on to I feel like she and I are both the next generation, that Pam and Cal work together, and now Nona and I are working together.
That's so cool. What a cool story. It's true. It's all about connections. And that's what this show is about. It's success through connections. And that is our show today. I hope that our audience has gotten a lot out of this one, because I certainly have. If you're trying to grow your company, this is what you need to be doing. You need to be the go-to person in your industry. And the way to get connected, through Russell. You call Russell. He'll get you where you need to go. Remember, it's 100% placement. So, hey, that's a track record. So I hope that you'll remember also, please subscribe to our channel, Success Through Connections. We're on all the different platforms for podcasting. And don't forget, success does not happen in isolation. It happens because of the connections that we have. And today, connections are currency, and connections are the power move. So until next week, I'm Zelda Greenberg, your host. Keep on connecting. I'll see you next week.